We are going to be reacting to Angelica Tosh's video, WoW with no friends, or why I play WoW alone, the solo experience. And I've been thinking about watching this for a while because everyone said how good it is. I'm truly curious why somebody plays WoW alone when it's a game designed as a social game. Part of my thoughts on this before I even watch it, because I'm not sure what she's going to say, is that a lot of people play WoW alone because the structures and bonds to make you want to play with people just doesn't really exist anymore. It's not really pushed for or incentivized. So a lot of people that play World of Warcraft say, well, why should I bother? I'm just going to play alone or do this or do that. And I'm curious to see what her intentions behind this are, or what her reasoning behind playing World of Warcraft alone is. Let's just dive right into it.
You know when you're a kid and you go to school and you have all these friends that have the same interests as you go home after school with the excitement that you'll get to meet all your friends in this other world by logging into your favorite game and playing together for hours on end until your mom yells at you to go to bed. Or maybe the people in your school don't play games with you, but you're such a social kid and you seem to fit in wherever you go. You find it easy to fit in with groups of people online who you can share games with. But as the years go on and you get older, you start to notice that the people that you regularly hang out with in-game are not coming online as regularly as you are. Maybe they're playing while you're busy, or some eventually log out for the last time without warning and are never seen again. You lose touch with.
I will say that's something I've noticed in a lot of games, a lot of friend groups, just a lot of social dynamics. As you get older, your life changes. 5 friends playing from high school and college, and then throughout college and then real life, you get a job, you get a wife, you get like kids, things happen, things change. You used to be able to play 12 hours. Then you get to playing 4 hours a week, or maybe 4 hours a day if you're lucky. And eventually, your priorities change. You might still play World of Warcraft, you just don't raid anymore. You might have once loved PvP, but now you just do some world PvP and then you log off. People start to break down their groups and their social structures because life changes and you have to make priority shifts. And World of Warcraft is one of those games where when your community quits, even if the game itself is still fun, going from being part of your guild, your structure, your friend group, to having to join another structure, another friend group, makes that a kind of a shitty experience, a less fun experience, so you just don't. You just play by yourself. You play with, maybe a smaller group. And eventually, for a lot of people, once every reason you used to play WoW with breaks apart, you stop looking for a new reason to play and you just stop playing.
These people because as your life gets busier, you don't really have time to reply to the Skype message that's been sitting in your notification for weeks, and when Skype eventually became outdated, not everybody knew that you moved on to Discord or other socials to stay in contact with you. Maybe you stopped checking messages there too. Your life getting busier doesn't necessarily mean that you stop liking the hobbies and things that you loved as a kid. So what happens if you still want to play World of Warcraft, but all your friends are gone and you're not somebody who can easily fit in and make friends online anymore? What if you can't keep up with guilds and other players? Do you get to enjoy the game at all? Is World of Warcraft just done for you at this stage? Today,
I want to say one thing about that. I feel like for a lot of people, when it comes to WoW, the social dynamics just don't matter as much anymore. A lot of people that are in guilds right now, and they want to be good players, they don't really care about their guilds. They're just there to pass or pump or just go fast. I can't truly speak from like somebody in a casual guild, because I haven't been in a casual guild in a long time, in the sense that when you're there, a lot of people play the game by themselves once you get to a certain level of casualness. Because I feel like a lot of people don't want to be in a 6-hour raid, so they just don't raid. Whereas they don't want to be in a sweaty guild because that's not fun to them. So a lot of people like disconnect from those community aspects of the game and just play in unique ways that just aren't trackable metrics online.
we're going to talk about World of Warcraft as a solo experience. What is it like to play the game without friends or other people in general? Before we get started, hi, my name is Angelica, and I actually do have friends. They're all here. You know,
I don't have friends. I have 0 friends. You know what? Nobody likes me. I am completely unlovable.
when this exact scenario happened to me, and I realized that I was all alone in Azeroth, I was kind of sad about it. It sucks not to be able to share this world with other people, especially if that's all you've known. Now, when I first started playing WoW, I was playing it by myself for a long time because I couldn't speak enough English to interact with people in a meaningful way, but that was fine. However, when I finally got to embrace the social element of the game to its full capacity, I realized that when I didn't have it, I really missed it. But as more time passed and I still had the craving to continue playing WoW just because I really love the world and I find comfort in going back to it, I realized that World of Warcraft is perfectly fine as a solo experience. In fact, I think it lets you view the world from a different perspective and arguably even enjoy your time there a lot more. A lot of people don't really like World of Warcraft because of its grindy element.
It's the issue for somebody like me is when you play WoW as your main primary game for a very, very long time, you start to enjoy it less and less in the sense that it no longer is a journey you enjoy because you're playing for specific reasons, specific grinds, specific points of why you're playing. As if you're just a regular person, you don't make content, you're not a streamer, you play other games. I feel like WoW never loses that joy and luster. It always stays as that shining beacon of a game you can always go back to. For a lot of people, when WoW doesn't have patches, there's nothing happening, it's just a downtime. It becomes this thing of you're looking for a reason to play WoW instead of playing WoW for the sake of playing WoW. Like, and I say this a lot with like raiders and like PvPers. They were playing rank 14 for the sake of getting that gear, not because they truly want to do the rank 14 grind. There was nothing fun about sitting in AV for 300 hours. And then they get the gear and that's a hollow experience. And a lot of people start to burn out or stop playing. And I feel like a reason why is a lot of people don't play WoW to enjoy it anymore. They play WoW to achieve a goal. Which is why if you play WoW for yourself, for example, hardcore WoW, people had a lot of fun. But when you're playing WoW for a specific goal, once you hit that hollow expectation of the modern grind, the modern just keep playing, keep grinding, keep doing, starts to eat at you and makes it a less fun experience.
You could say that all the quests are exactly the same. You either have to gather X amount of this thing, or slay Y amount of that thing, deliver something, speak to someone, a constant back and forth involving a lot of running around at a moderately slow pace until you reach level 40, and then at a slightly quicker pace, if you're able to afford it, that is. I think that every quest being the same, more or less, makes it kinda therapeutic. You don't really have to think too much about what
My headset died, give me a second.
level 40, and then at a slightly quicker pace, if you're able to afford it, that is. I think that every quest being the same, more or less, makes it kinda therapeutic. You don't really have to think too much about what you're doing. You can just go on autopilot and fully immerse yourself in the forests, mountains, valleys, and plains of Azeroth. There's no pressure to keep up with anyone or anything. The world moves around you, but you have your own path ahead that will take you where you want to go in your own time. Though this was always a possibility, I only really started to
The world itself is one of World of Warcraft's strongest points. And I feel like if you can actually truly give a shit about the world, you're actually going to have the best time compared to anybody else. One thing I've noticed is that a lot of people love Classic because it's not new. They love Classic because it's a thing that they know every single thing of. They understand how to level, where to go, what quests to do. Like, I don't use Rested XP or anything like that. I just use Questy as a baseline, and I can do pretty much all of 1 to 60 without much trouble, even without using Questy. But at the same time, it also can get boring, which is why I feel like a lot of burnout happens where people play and then they leave and they come back and they just go to Era or something and just level for themselves, play for themselves. I can't confidently say that that's the majority of the player base, but I feel like if you can bring yourself to love the world and treat it as a therapeutic experience, World of Warcraft is one of the greatest games in the world.
to view the world that way after playing Classic in Hardcore. I started this experience myself before the official Hardcore servers launched by using the add-on. This was a third-party add-on created specifically for players who wanted to experience the game this way, and some even say that this was better than the actual Hardcore servers, but I'll mention more on that later. The add-on
If you ask how it goes, it was, because it was a more pure time. Back then, it was more the community trying to make their own content. World of Warcraft's always been at its best when the community is making things. So the people that say that they're not wrong, but fundamentally, Hardcore WoW as an official server is better because there's way more ways to keep track. There's no faking it. But when you do get griefed, it is the worst experience.
had its own community website, and there you could see the rules that you needed to follow in order for it to be an authentic, hardcore experience. The rules included things like no auction house, no player-to-player mail or trading. You could only run each dungeon once per character. But the biggest thing for me was the rule about no grouping, unless you're going to a dungeon. I couldn't understand how people managed without grouping, especially in a death delete scenario. Though it's intimidating, once you get started you realize that this is actually one of the best ways to enjoy the game, especially now, so many years later, when the classic experience has actually started to get a bit stale for people. Unless you're playing on Turtle WoW, those guys never seem to complain about anything. But you do start to look at the world in a completely different way.
Total WoW mentioned, there's going to be 75 comments about Total WoW, and it is a great experience. I'm not even going to lie about that. Total WoW is actually phenomenal. It's my idea of a Classic Plus. That's kind of what I want personally. But she's not wrong. The journey and leveling and enjoying the world, engrossing yourself inside of it is what makes WoW its best. And people are just burnt out about that. People just are struggling to find that energy and love for the game anymore. Because each new iteration of World of Warcraft is less WoW and more this weird amalgamation where the community keeps taking the game to an extreme that it's not about.
World of Warcraft being a social game, no grouping was completely unfathomable to me. And yet, it's 100% possible and in a lot of ways, more fun. First of all, no grouping in a hardcore scenario leaves you in a state where the only person you can rely on is yourself. There's no LFM Hogger, no anyone for Tharl Zun, and certainly no LFG Fenris Isle. This, especially in a hardcore scenario, forces you to get really good at your class. Really try and learn how to get the most out of your abilities at any given level, maybe even consider professions to get you through, since you can't use the auction house or trade with other people, so you have to do everything by yourself. In group scenarios, I feel like very often, particularly DPS classes, can get away with doing the bare minimum. If you're someone like a hunter or a mage, you don't really have to do a whole lot and you're still able to top DPS meters easily. There's no real need for you to get good at your class, you can rely on other people, and you probably don't even need to fully understand what you're doing at all, and nobody would even notice. When you're alone and you're facing a camp of gnolls or maybe an elite mob for a quest, you have to start using a lot more of your brain to figure out how to defeat the mobs and get out of there alive. You have to exhaust all.
That is the number one thing I've heard people say about hardcore, is that it made them care about the game world again. It made them care about leveling and enjoying and breathing in Azeroth. For me, hardcore's been a thing I've always struggled to get into because I don't really feel that struggle or that stress. It's just boredom. The thing for me, and I'm not saying hardcore's a bad game mode. I fully respect everybody that enjoys it and loves it. For me, personally, it's always been a very hard sell to really truly immerse myself in the game world like that, when I've leveled so many characters and I've enjoyed Azeroth so many times, that I have always truly failed to invest myself into that expenditure of my energy, my time. But I understand the appeal. If hardcore had come out back, instead of Season of Mastery, we'd gotten hardcore instead, I feel like it would have been a far better experience. I feel like I would have enjoyed it way more. I would have actually loved it, because by that point I had only done 6 or 7 characters. Now I'm at so many. But it's classic WoW at its best is when you care about the journey. And I feel like hardcore forces you to care about it. And as a new player, I would always recommend a new player play hardcore, because you're going to enjoy the world way more than you would actually enjoy playing on a regular server.
Your resources, plan ahead, and really survive. You need to be making decisions all the time. Is that quest that's in a cave really worth it, or are you going to get whooped when too many mobs respawn at the same time and find you frolicking about? It's all on you, and there are real stakes, because if you
should never go into a cave in hardcore. This is how most people die in hardcore, entering a cave and then getting their cheek clapped. It's always the worst thing you can do.
Make a mistake, you will lose your character right there in that stupid cave. This kind of self-reliance really makes you appreciate playing solo. You're responsible for you. Nobody's holding you back, and you're also able to play the game at your own pace. One thought that I had about playing solo is that you're straight up unable to do certain quests. For example, if you're leveling in Redridge, there are several elite quests there that are kind of a big deal in terms of experience that you get there, and you really need a dungeon-sized group to get through those. It's true that some scenarios are best avoided when you're by yourself, so you instead get to experience more of the world. Typically, when you're leveling, you have sort of a choice in terms of the zones that you're going to to cover in any particular level bracket. Like, you can choose between Westfall, Darkshore, or Loch Modan, or if you're Horde, you might be looking at the Barrens or Silverpine Forest. When you're by yourself, especially in hardcore, you might actually opt to do all of the zones. For example, when you're questing in Westfall, starting
You kind of have to do all the zones. I feel like that's kind of how it was originally meant to be played. Right now, people rush through things. I know a lot of people just literally use rested XP. They just go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here. Because let's skip this, too long. Skip this, not worth it. Don't do this, go do this. Whereas in hardcore, a lot of times, you have to do every low-level quest to actually be able to get the XP without like having to grind mobs for a long time. Which I feel like adds to that sweetness, that charm of the world, like the original Westfall experience, where you go from Alwyn to Westfall to Redridge, back to Westfall to Darkshore, and you have to keep traveling back and forth, uncovering that story and that world and that journey makes the world mean something. It makes the journey mean something. And that solo experience of like, I don't have to rush, I'm not gonna raid, it's hardcore, like I don't care about raiding, I'm here for that journey, makes you read quests, makes you enjoy the story, makes you go, oh, I can't actually do this. I can't actually enjoy this. I can't do this quest. I gotta play at my pace, my way, so I can create my story. So I can hit level 60 and finish this arc that I've created. And I feel like that's why people love hardcore. Love that solo experience, if you would say so.
At say level 11, you eventually get to a point when you feel a little underleveled, as the quests that you're doing at level 15 are in areas where a bunch of level 18 mobs are walking.
WoW became big for being so social, and solo self-found is basically the opposite of that. You even try to avoid others so you won't risk social aggro, taking them away from the RPG. See, Valador, that's where I disagree, in the sense that hardcore actually created more of a community than any other game, and it was honestly the truest sense, the truest world and experience of World of Warcraft. And the reason for that is, in the current game, it's all about skipping and getting to the end game as efficiently and as fast as possible. Where in hardcore, sure, solo self-found means you can't group with anybody, but people can still help each other. People will still walk by and support you, drop some heals on you, give you a little bit of support when you're doing a quest. It creates a value and a world and a community where you leveling helps everybody else. People are happy to see you succeed, happy to see you thrive. Because so many people die and lose their characters, and then you know the saying, go again. And hardcore encourages that. People will always be there to help you. Because it's about experiencing and immersing yourself in that world. Even if for the most part it is alone. It doesn't take the MMO out of it. It forces you to enjoy the RPG in the MMO. Because right now, it's just an MMO. There is no RPG in current Classic.
Around. That might not be a huge difference, but in a hardcore scenario, if you have that level 18 and any other mob attacking you at the same time, you might be cooked. So you take a step back, travel to Darkshore, take the quests that are available there for level 11 onwards, and with the XP you gather, you're then able to return to Westfall and pick up where you left off. I feel like this makes leveling more of a journey and more of an adventure. You're covering more ground within a particular level bracket. If you're taking advantage of any XP that you can get more or less safely, you might also discover quests in areas of the game that you would have otherwise ignored because you leveled too quickly for them. One such example for me was a quest that you can get between the wetlands and the Arathi Highlands. I always skipped this quest because it was on like a broken off part of the bridge that's really hard to get to. You have to do like really weird parkour to get to it. It had an unusually high amount of XP for it being just a speak to this other NPC in this safe location quest, so I was determined to get it. I was at a bit of a standstill in hardcore in terms of safe quests that I could do without dying, so it was a decent option. Not without its risks, however. The first time I tried it, I nearly had a heart attack. Fell all the way down, but I realized it's more or less safe. You don't die, you end up on water. If you fall right, there is a bit of a platform just before the water that you can land on. Now, I was doing this for a very long time because when you fell into the water, you also had to swim up and go all the way around up the mountain and through a dark iron dwarf camp. So again, it wasn't the safest. It was okay, it was manageable. I eventually did succeed. As you can see, it was quite exciting. I don't remember the last time I was this excited about WoW in a group setting, so for me, this sort of solo, hardcore gameplay really revived the game. I was really happy. And in general, getting things done yourself and not dying in the process was a new kind of rewarding and special, something that no matter how many friends I played with, I just hadn't experienced in WoW for a long time. This was my experience with the add-on. They of course did later release the official hardcore servers, and those didn't restrict player-to-player mix.
So thinking about the quest in the world, I will say the most fun I ever had leveling was the very first time I played back in 2019, where I didn't look at any guides. The only thing I had was Questy, I think, and I don't remember how well updated it was. And I just tried to level according to myself. I did so many random quests and things that people would consider beyond unoptimal. It wasn't smooth, it wasn't efficient, but I enjoyed the whole world. I was doing random quests. I was dying to elites over and over again. I was experiencing parts of Azeroth that most people probably have never experienced because Questy or Rested XP tells you to skip them. And just being part of that world and enjoying every quest, every moment was the best time for World of Warcraft for me. And I feel like a lot of people are forgetting that when it does come to World of Warcraft, the journey is where a lot of people made their core memories. Finding your guild, your friends, the people you played with, the people you grouped together with. So I do agree with her that the solo experience is incredibly important if you let yourself be truly immersed here. And I feel like that's the hard part, is actually immersing yourself in that solo experience. For a lot of people, it's very hard to let yourself truly enjoy the world because it's boring grind. But it's only boring and grindy if you don't let yourself actually enjoy the game for what it's meant to be.
Mail, the auction house, trading, or grouping. I think that this diminished the hardcore experience. It was definitely more hardcore if you were following the add-on. Blizzard seemed to kind of embrace this solo player initiative by adding something called the self-found mode. This did restrict the auction house, mail, and trading, but it didn't restrict grouping, which is why I also personally think that the add-on and the rules that they had there were superior. Just if we're speaking of a more hardcore experience. And this has been my experience as a solo player. Maybe if you're someone like me and you've been playing the game for years, since childhood, as an adult, you'll enjoy the solo experience a lot more. It's sad to think about all the people that you used to hang out with in game that just logged out one day and never came back. But it's nice to remember all the good times with guildmates and just other people you meet in the world and had all these fun interactions with. WoW has always
So I'm just going to share a small story here. In 2019, I found a person and we leveled from level 2 to level 30 together. Non-stop playing. Almost 2 days of just random grinding, go to sleep, wake back up, start playing. And me and that person played together at level 55. The person's name was Renata. I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly. We didn't use Discord. We didn't talk on any other platform. We just logged in and played. Sometimes they get 2 or 3 levels ahead of me, sometimes I get a little bit ahead of them, but we just played together the whole time. And he didn't log back in after level 55. He hit level 55, and then he joined the army, if I remember correctly. This was 2019, mind you. And then he never logged back in again. And every now and then I'll think about them, think about what became of them, what they started doing, where they went. They were just a regular human paladin. And it was some of the best times I had in World of Warcraft, just playing with this one random person. We played together. Sure, half of that was playing alone, but the people that I used to play with, the memories I made, they're important to me, even if they no longer play, even if we no longer play together. And I feel like 2019 was the precipice of where gaming changed of how people played it. I feel like before 2020, before COVID happened and it hit everything before that I feel like was a different era of gaming, where you cared about just having fun, enjoying yourself, doing things, just living and breathing in the world. Where after COVID, I feel like this level of efficiency and grind and dedication, this hustle culture kicked in and changed the way we played games, changed the ways we enjoyed games, changed the ways we lived and breathed gaming. And you can honestly see that divide happen right around 2021, where the before and after is a whole different experience.
Always been a social game, but I feel like modern advances in social media and how accessible communication is now really changed the way we interact with people in game. I think that now we are oversaturated with all the different ways in which we can communicate, and I find that even if you look for interaction in WoW these days, people are a lot less responsive and tend to stick to themselves anyway. So becoming a solo player may not have even been a you thing, it's just the landscape isn't the same anymore. But hopefully after this video you can see that it's still possible to get enjoyment out of WoW, just in a different capacity. Also, there's nothing wrong.
I just want to say that's a wild comment. The dude chose War IRL instead of playing WoW with you. Funny. Fucked up, but funny.
With spending time on your own and learning how to enjoy things for yourself and by yourself. I feel like if you learn to enjoy doing some things alone, in the long run, you'll be able to build more meaningful friendships and relationships in the game and in the real world. After all, if you don't like spending time with yourself, why would anyone else enjoy your company? And that is the truest thing I've ever heard somebody say. If you don't love you, why should somebody else love you? If you don't like yourself, why should somebody else like you? You should learn to love yourself, learn to enjoy playing games or doing hobbies by yourself, because you build yourself, your character, who you are and who you should be and how you present yourself to other people. A guy or a girl with no hobbies, no interests, no nothing, whose whole personality is just doing things to other people is an empty person. You should learn to love who you are and learn to enjoy being by yourself, so you can truly develop into being somebody other people want to be around. Whether you want to be around them or not is a different question. But you should learn to be comfortable in your own silence, in solace with yourself. Because I did. I spent time to dedicate to learn being happy by myself. And then I met my wife and I enjoy like her company and her time, my friends, the people I surround myself with IRL, online, the people I game with. By learning to love myself and who I am, I truly created somebody that other people enjoy hanging out with. At least I would like to think so. Maybe I'm an annoying cunt and everybody hates me. It happens, right? But she's absolutely correct. Love yourself so other people can love you too. Covers it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, as always, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Big shout out to my channel members. You guys are great. Thank you so much. And I'll see you all in the next video. Be seeing you. Bye.
That was a really good video. So I'm going to let the outro, the whole thing play out and let that happen so she gets, maximum ad revenue. But like, I am going to be real here. This was a really, really good video. She literally nailed it on the park of why people should play games a particular way, why they should enjoy gaming by themselves, because World of Warcraft initially created a lot of memories for people because they were playing by themselves. A lot of people's core memories were leveling as a kid or as a young adult or in college, getting into a raid for the first time, joining a guild and making friends. Back before social media changed, World of Warcraft was one of the first social medias, one of the first first platforms that was social media in and of itself. And it was a very, very well done video. I'm going to link a description to her down below. If you haven't subscribed to her or your first time seeing her videos, please subscribe. She makes a bunch of really, really high quality videos. Genuine top tier creator. I don't really have much more to add here, except to say, I wish World of Warcraft had more journeys for a lot of people to enjoy again. Because I feel like a lot of people killed the journey of World of Warcraft for themselves by separating themselves from the game and focusing on the efficiency and the end game instead of the initial reasons we all fell in love with: the world, the lore, the stories, the characters. I feel like everything now is just about skipping to the end game as fast as possible, and I feel like that is a very, very bad way to truly game. So thank you all for enjoying this video. If you like this video, like and subscribe. If you hated it, understandable. Dislike and subscribe and become a dedicated hater. Hate passionately. Don't half-ass your hate. Be dedicated in it. Thank you all for watching. I've been hard out. Peace.